When someone passes, where do they go? Gone forever, or can they show? What if you could find someone between to bridge the gap of those unseen?
I see departed souls, and I'm able to communicate with them. I get messages from beyond, from your lost loved ones. You may be surprised at what they have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, the people's medium, Michele Livingston.
Hello. Hello, John.
Hi, hon. How are you?
I am fine. I'm dressed in my Halloween garb.
I see that. You look great.
I usually don't wear black, but hey, it's Halloween.
Oh,
So, how are you, John?
I'm pretty good. Thank you. I'm looking forward to another show. This is what, our fourth show?
Fourth, yes, it is.
All right. And we're going to be talking about your book, Living in the Afterlife, which is appearing right beside you there. And we're going to talk all good things about Halloween, sort of the origin and the paranormal and all those good things that most people talk about during this time when the veil is thinner, right?
The veil is thinner, especially on Halloween, the 31st. But there is quite a difference between paranormal and what I do. But I did a little bit of background, and Halloween is Hallows Eve, which I thought was interesting. It's All Saints Eve. It started as a Christian holiday.
Oh.
And it's the Feast of the Saints is when it started. So I was curious what trick-or-treat meant.
Yeah.
And a trick-or-treat is a tradition that began in the Middle Ages, which I thought was interesting. Children would dress up and go around literally begging for food and for money, and in exchange for prayers, bless them. I thought that was so interesting. In Europe, they did that in the Middle Ages, and that's how trick-or-treat got started and how it came to America.
Wow.
And now we trick-or-treat for candy.
Yeah,
So,
we do.
yeah, this is a great time of year, but it's also a time of protection, John. It's a time to white light and protect because there are discarnate spirits on earth, and they are earthbound.
Can we get into that a little bit? Like, what is the difference between someone who has crossed over and is in, quote unquote, heaven versus someone who is still earthbound?
Earthbound spirits, some of them don't know they're passed away. They may have had a traumatic experience in passing, and they're kind of caught in between dimensions. Some don't want to go to the light, as if they built a farm home 300-400 years ago, and that was their homestead, their estate. They really don't leave. They want what's happening at their homestead. Some that are addicts, for example, alcoholics or cocaine addicts, really like the psychological, and I think we were talking about this the other night on James Von Prague's show, the psychological and emotional feeling of the substance. So many times, and it's not every spirit, but sometimes spiritual, if they love alcohol, will hang around a bar and they'll wait for someone to pass out, actually, to get the feeling of the liquor, which I find is kind of interesting. So you never know who's been in you the night before.
Well, that's really interesting because if you think about it, originally I think alcohol was called spirits, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Isn't that interesting? Yes, it was.
So you open yourself up to, would you even say possession? I know we're kind of getting to controversial subjects here.
Yes, I kind of laughingly say Klingons.
Okay, got it.
Or someone that would, and that's a good way to say it, may take over the body to get the feeling of the substance that they would want.
But they can't, you don't think they can influence the body, do you, to do something that...
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they just like the feeling of it.
Okay.
So, you hear at this time of year, ghosts and hauntings.
Yeah.
And that's the paranormal is wonderful. The investigators do good work. It's something that I personally am not involved with.
Right.
I like to talk to those in the love and light of heaven. But I know I've had so many cases of people that contact me throughout the country and say, I think there's someone in my house, some spirit in my house.
Yeah.
Now, some are more benevolent, some are kinder.
Uh-huh.
And the other ones really get crazy.
Okay.
And when they throw things around, you've heard the word poltergeist,
Poltergeist. Yeah. Yeah.
crazy, crazy ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And so protection is key. And even actually protecting the home, John, is really key.
Right.
In the spring, in the east, I open all the windows, let the air through. And I also go room to room and visualize white light in each corner
Mm-hmm.
of the room and say protective prayers,
Yeah.
because I do my work here in my office, and I, like I said, do phone consults from
Yes.
all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Most of the time, it's very calm afterwards, but once a month, I do my ritual of white lighting. And there's another technique that people can use to raise the energy of the home,
Okay.
and that is to visualize a pure white sheet of light under the foundation and to
Mm-hmm.
slowly bring it up through the different levels of the home and put it above in your mind above the roof. Take the four corners of the sheet and send it on its way out
Okay.
into heaven. So what you're doing is any negativity is tied up and it's gone. It's a
Mm.
great way to keep it cleansed.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
And so there is a distinct difference between ghosts and loving souls
Right.
in heavenly realms.
Okay. All right. Wow. So I guess ghosts can influence the electricity, or is that spirits from the other side, or can they both do it?
And I think they both can do it.
They both can. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. And as I said, the German word for noisy ghost is poltergeist, so
Poltergeist.
things
Yeah.
are being thrown.
Yeah.
But in the love and light, there are different ways that the souls can communicate from heaven. And
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about
Yeah.
that.
We have.
So messengers,
Mm-hmm.
birds, butterflies,
Yeah.
dragonflies, and we smell the sometimes smoke or cologne
Mm-hmm.
and dream of them. And you mentioned electrical occurrences, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Lights flickering and so on. So it's a matter of feeling. A lot of people are empathic. They feel energy
Mm-hmm.
and they're sensitive. So I always say, go by your feelings. Your heart will never lead you astray. It
Right.
really won't.
Yeah, I was feeling that too. I was thinking, well, if you don't know if it's a difference between a ghost and someone crossing over, then maybe you should just ask your own intuition to sort of give you,
That's
how
right.
do you feel about this experience,
The inner knowing.
inside? Yeah, the inner knowing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I
And
want go ahead. Ann.
you had an interesting question right before we came on air
Yeah.
about the costumes that
Yeah.
people wear and what they're drawn to. Hopefully not zombies.
Yeah.
No, just joking. It's Halloween.
Right.
But you even said, which is interesting, John, that sometimes people are drawn to past eras in history.
Yeah.
So whether it's the courts of Louis the 14th, or whether it's medieval times,
Mm-hmm.
many times people will wear the costume that of the era that they're drawn to. And I think that's fascinating as well.
Yeah, especially if you bring in reincarnation, because maybe they are wanting to reenact a part of their soul's existence.
Exactly.
Because
Revolutionary War or
yeah, because I kind of think of the soul as being a container of lifetimes.
yes.
Yes,
Yes, the soul is. It's a composite of thoughts and energy experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are you drawn to a certain era,
Not
John?
not in
His
particular. No, not really, because I don't really think I've had a lot of lifetimes on Earth.
star belts?
Yeah, yeah. I'm more drawn to that, to be honest with you. So I know that one year I went as the fool from the tarot, the jester.
Oh my word.
Yeah, and had one of the best Halloweens ever. Dressed up like the jester.
So that would be in the courts of the
Yeah,
Renaissance,
yeah. So
actually.
that could have been, that's the only era I can think of that I. Other times I went as angels or aliens and stuff like that. So yeah, or angel alien, so just
I know.
mix it up, a little hybrid of things. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I'm very much a movie guy, so I love to watch movies, but I'm not into horror movies. I'm not into scary movies. But so when Halloween comes around, I watch. Halloween sort of themed movies, but not the scary ones. So, for instance, I would love to see every Halloween, usually, and I watch it. It's called Paranorman. Have you heard about Paranorman?
No, what is that,
It
John?
is. it is an adorable animated film, and I'm going to put up a screenshot so people can see
Oh boy.
of a teenager. It's a cartoon, like an animated film. So of a teenager who is a medium, and he doesn't really realize that he is, and he communicates with his grandmother, and nobody believes him. And so I don't want to ruin the movie, but it's such a great little kids movie, but it's really appeals to all ages because it's actually PG. So there you go.
That's good.
Yeah, but
It is good.
it's a great little movie. So I just watched sort of like in Hotel Transylvania and just things like that, that are they're animated films that are maybe Halloween like, but I've never been one into the
Something
horror
simple
stuff.
and not. I personally don't like horror movies because
Yeah.
of course, as an empath doing
Mhm.
this work,
Yeah.
and I the actual program I'm watching.
Yeah.
So some nights I can't even sleep.
Right. No, I get it. That's the same way with me. I a friend of mine was in a Horror Story, American Horror Story, and Chrissy Metz, and she's a dear friend of mine. She was in the season with the what was it called? The Sideshow Freaks, I guess. And she got cast for that, but she is very, very afraid of horror movies and all that. So just think about what she went through having to be in the actual show when she had,
Tomorrow.
yeah. So, but now she's on This Is Us, which is a great show on NBC, and it's
And
doing extremely well.
and it must be wonderful to be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You have so many contacts and people that you love, and
It's great to see them get success, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how she got her big break on that show, Horror Story, and now she's doing such a show loved by everybody that's so mainstream, which you don't really see these days. And
no, you don't.
and
You
it's-
don't.
Yeah, and it's just it's a family show that anybody could watch, and very touching. So yeah, so I wanted to give out the phone number, sweethearts, for people to call in. It's
Okay.
323-649-8268. Again, 323-649-8268. And we're doing free mini readings. Free mini readings with Michele, and hopefully you can keep them to medium readings, connecting with people who are on the other side. And Michelle's very good at telling you not only what they're seeing when they look down here on earth, but what they're doing in heaven, with their existence in heaven. So
And I want to thank all the people who have privately emailed me on my fan page, which is Michele, the People's Medium.
mhm.
And people ask me, well, how did you get that name? Well, I'm on a morning drive time show called the People's Morning Show in central Pennsylvania. I've been on that for 9 years. So because it's the People's Morning Show, I'm the People's Medium. And my fan page, I write on it every day. And also, if they want to sign up for a newsletter, John,
Okay.
we have an email newsletter that goes out. But I no, I do want to thank the listeners. I get lots and lots of emails every day. Thank you for the mini reading. And also, what do you think about this? Things have been moving around in my home, for example. Should I white light it? What should I do? What's your feeling on the benevolent spirits, the good
Mhm.
ones versus the malevolent spirits?
Right.
So it's interesting. Yeah. I've enjoyed the show. This has been fantastic. And it's only my fourth time on here,
Yeah.
but I so enjoyed doing James' Bug show and all talking with Kelly the other night.
Yeah, that
It
was
very
such
interesting.
a great time having you two together, and you did some great reads, and we had a
We had
ball.
fun.
We had a
We had
ball.
fun.
Yeah, we really did. Now, speaking of spirit interfering with connection, it's interesting because it's almost like there's a haze coming over your video, which is I'm like hoping that's not like a spirit, but
Okay,
so
stop.
we're bearing with it, and we're gonna ask for some clarity here. So we've got some calls coming in, hon. If you want to get to the calls, they're
Absolutely.
slowly filling the lines here. So
Yay!
we have one that's been on hold for about 30 minutes now. So let's get to. It looks like she's in Florida, and I don't have a name, but we'll ask her when we get her on the line. 305, you're on the line here with Michele. Can we have your name, please, and where you're calling from?
Yes, my name is Araceli, and I'm calling from Holland, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. And your name, please?
Araceli,
Ateli? Interesting.
Araceli.
Okay. And what's your question, my dear?
Yes, I would like to know how my grandmother is doing on the other side.
Oh, is that your mother's mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. I can't pull them through. Each soul has free choice and free will. But I have a lady coming in on the left, which is mother's side. She was very family oriented, and I feel slightly religious. She has a cross with her, and she's making the sign of the cross over you. Isn't that interesting? She's someone that
Oh my
watches
God.
out. Yeah, she's someone that watches out for you, and I feel a great, tremendous heart love from her. And is there Catholic background for you, my dear?
Yes.
Okay, because rosary beads are shown, and I'm also getting an M initial. Who would be M in your family, starting with an M on your past, darling?
The
Marie,
M?
Mary. Yes, Marie, Mary, Michael. Do you know your genealogy?
No, I don't know my gender.
You don't know your genealogy. Okay, and your grandmother also has a child that's passed on. So someone lost a child, my dear. And she says this one lost, but now it's found. It was either a miscarriage. I don't think it was a stillborn, but the child back in family. Okay, it's interesting.
Mm.
And do you have a specific question for your grandmother?
Yes.
And what is it, darling?
Well, I have a miscarriage before.
I'm sorry. I'm breaking up too. John, what's the question?
Yeah, are you on a speakerphone?
I think
Yes,
she
I
might.
am.
Oh, can you
Oh, could you turn it down,
could you
darling?
yeah, could you go to your regular phone, hon? Because we're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. That's much, much better. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Can
What was your question, mother?
Yes, my grandmother passed away like 10 years ago, and I would like to know if she's okay on the outside and what she's doing,
Oh, what
and
she's doing
also my
over.
father-in-law.
All right. Your grandmother was very chatty. She loved family. She was very devoted to family. She worked very well with her hands, if you understand. And so she's met up with her soul group in heaven. And I have to say, is your mother still on her, my dear? Your mother.
Yes, my mother is
Yes,
still here.
she wants you to keep up with your mother insofar as communication goes. And somebody also had a heart issue, a heart. I'm having difficulty in breathing. I don't know if I don't think this is your grandmother. I think it's a new energy coming in. And so if you know anyone that had that difficulty in taking the last breath, that's what I'm feeling for you, okay? And I also ask you if someone lost a child, and I think you didn't hear me. Somebody lost a child, sweetheart, a miscarriage or something, back in family, all right? And I do have to say your grandmother has that soul with her. And
Okay.
I feel like their cards are coming in. You were talking about saints. We were talking about Hallows Eve, which is All Saints Eve, which happens to be coming up on Monday. And I'm getting names of saints. So who would have been fairly religious, my dear?
Well, I have a friend who passed away this past February. Her like she was my mother too, so I don't know if she's the one because she was very Catholic. She was very Catholic.
Yes. And she was like a soul mother to you, I would
Yes,
say.
ma'am. Yes.
Very close. She tells me for you
Yes.
not to worry. Love people with all your heart, and you tend to go overboard and kind of stress or worry. She doesn't want you to worry, darling. But I do have her through. And she's fanning literally all the saint cards: Teresa, Anthony, Francis. So these could be names either in your family or those that she loves from heaven. All the saints. And
Anthony is my son's name, and he's gonna have his birthday. The 3rd of November is his birthday.
Well, do you know your grandmother and your soul mother is going to pull their energy down around his birthday. He's a good boy. I know he's older. I know he's not a baby, but I want to say that you've been a good role model for him. You really have. And they love him dearly. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So just be proud that they love you. Be proud that you've been a good mom to your son. And I'm glad that the name of Anthony came out. Because I was going to ask you, I think, and I'm not Catholic, but I think he's the saint of lost objects, Saint Anthony. And so,
Saint Anthony.
Yeah. So that's a good name for your son. He's a good boy.
And another question that I want to ask you is, my husband, he passed away also like years ago, and really would like to know what's going on with him if he comes.
Okay. He were the love of his life, and was very tragic the way he passed, he tells me. And he also has something for you. February is important, and he has a little gold locket for you, darling, like a gold heart he wants to give to you. And he's around you. He's around you. Well, is he the father of your son? He mentions November. Is he the father of Anthony?
Yes. But my husband's father, the husband that I have, Anthony's father.
So that would be, yes, it is.
Grandfather for Anthony.
Okay, so that would be a father-in-law for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Father-in-law. Yes. He's fine. He made it to the light. He's a spirit guide of your son. Okay? Spirit guide. He watches out for him, and he will in days ahead. So I want to say thank you for your call from Florida. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bless you, honey.
Have a good day.
Thank you for calling. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That's great. I love that the saints...
Yeah, that's unusual because we just mentioned All Saints Eve.
Right. And you were right. That is the saint of lost objects. I looked it up while we were talking. So, yeah.
You'd think I was Catholic in a past life. Usually don't wear black, but I figured it's Halloween. What the heck?
I love it. All right, so let's go to 570. We have Jennifer on the line. Hi, Jennifer. Do you have a question for Michele, please?
Hi.
Hi, Jen.
Yes, hi, Michele. Hi, I'm dealing with my son who has been on the addict list, and I'm having a hard time trying to,
keep him in order.
I guess. Excuse me?
I'm sorry, what's his name?
His name is Kenny.
Kenny.
Yes.
Was he named after anyone, Jennifer? Was there another Kenneth or Kenny anywhere?
Not really. Kenny Rogers was one.
Okay. I'm just hearing he's named after someone. So that's probably the Kenny. This is something that goes back in family, the predisposition for drugs or alcohol. And I don't know if that's on your husband's side. I need to say a little bit of depression also, Jen, goes back somewhere, which you probably already know. I want to say your son's...
His dad overdosed in 2012.
Is his dad still on earth, or is he gone?
No, he's passed.
All right, then I feel I have to get him through. He's trying to help his son to get squared away because genetically that predisposition comes down the family line, Jennifer. And you're kind of at your wit's end. I know that. That's what I'm hearing. Prayers are powerful. Rehab, has he been to rehab? Is he in rehab now?
Yes, he's in a recovery house.
I see jail bars. I don't know if he's been in prison. I hear DUI. I don't know if he has had that yet. Um, who would be at late teens also? Not necessarily him, your son, but a nephew or around 18. Who would be late teens, Jennifer, in family?
Who is
Because
alive, you mean?
your husband's protecting your son, but also someone else in like teenage years from being drawn or pulled in the same path. So it might be on your husband's side as well, like his sister's son or his brother's son. He's acknowledging someone in the late teens. And hopefully they're not pulled down this path, darling. But I feel that
Okay.
there's would you send some prayers up for your son, Kenny? Kenny means well, he's very bright, your son. Very bright.
Yeah.
And he wants so much to succeed. And I have to ask you if you have another son. Is he the only one, Jennifer?
No, I have another son.
I
He's
thought
15.
so. Yes, right.
15.
And how old is Kenny?
Kenny's 30.
Okay. So there's quite a difference there. Quite a difference
Yeah.
between ages. Kenny, now let me get this right from his father. And you've been through so much. My heart goes out to you. You need to take one day at a time. The angels are working on Kenny. Your husband, who's passed on, is working on him. There's a little bit of rebellion in him. He wants to do things his way, and I think it comes from his daddy's side. But there's always hope, Jennifer. There's always hope. And I do have to say it's going to be about 2 to 4 months till he adjusts, until he can kind of feel good about himself. Self-esteem issues are here. You understand that, don't you, Kenny?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll be good for like a while, and then he goes off to the races. And I also have to say something very interesting, honey. There's some bipolar back in time. That could be your husband's side too, where there are a lot of mood swings.
Yeah.
And
I asked him to get a mental evaluation, but he won't do it.
be patient.
Yeah.
Patient and pray. I think he's going to do it. And I think he'll come out okay. I really do. Prayer is pretty powerful. I'm an advocate of that.
Yes.
And also just keeping up with. So it's not just a matter of praying. It's a matter of making him or helping him feel good about himself. All right. And I know that you try to do that. So one day at a time, Jen. And where are you calling from, by the way, dear? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Schuylkill County.
Okay. I see a creek or a stream near you. And I just have to say, water is very healing for your son, Kenny, and it's also healing for you. So if you can get out and walk along the creek or stream, it'll help you to calm down a little bit. I know you're stressed. So try to get extra rest, okay? And I'll keep you in my prayers, darling.
Hey, thank you so
Michelle. Much. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. Stay on the line for just one sec. Is Kenny open to the, connecting with the medium, or is he open to the spirituality that you're into?
I told him messages that I received from his father before.
Uh-huh.
And he got a little freaked out.
Okay.
And he, I believe, is close to believing.
Uh-huh.
And I think that is just, it has him confused.
But, John, my co-host, he brought up a good point. Because many times when people like Kenny are in between feeling good about themselves and not, the bipolar, the substance abuse, sometimes they just need a little reality check. And I think that's excellent. John brought that up. So if there's any way he would be open, Jennifer, that's something to think about. All right?
Yeah. Like a meditation or a way of him, connecting, watching videos, reading Michelle's books, anything like that that will help him open up.
I feel like he needs a true, like a soul search.
Yes, exactly. He's on a soul searching mission right now. That's why I was asking the question. What was his dad's name?
His dad's name was Dwayne.
Dwayne. Okay.
Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Did Dwayne have a truck? Who had the truck? Who had a truck? Somebody drove a truck at some point. And we won't.
I'm not sure.
We don't want to go on. I don't think it was for a business. I think it was sort of like a flatbed truck. And it could be someone related to Dwayne, somebody in his family that's trying to say hello. So I do have to say, it's not just his dad. There are a lot of spirits trying to help him.
Yeah, I had chills all over. That's why I had to ask that question, because
I know
I was feeling either Dwayne or someone around and saying that he needs to, not he needs to, but it would be nice if you would be encouraging of him to look into connecting spiritually, because he's trying to connect that way through the drugs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's also.
Family. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as we said, your son's very sensitive, and sometimes the drugs just numb all the external energy that's around him.
Yes.
His way of escaping some of it.
I've been praying more and more, and it's just, this confirms that my prayers are being answered, and I guess I have to patiently wait.
Yeah. Prayers work, darling. So I'm so glad you got through, Jennifer.
Thank you, Michelle. It was my first dial, and it came right through.
Yeah, you were meant to.
Well, it was meant to be.
Yes.
I guess your husband Dwayne was behind that one. Take care, honey.
Yeah, probably. Thank you.
All
right.
Bye.
Give us an update, sweetheart. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
It's difficult, John, when substance abuse is genetically linked down family lines, the dysfunction of that.
Yeah.
And I see that in counseling a lot, that someone whose grandfather was an alcoholic or father, sometimes it comes down the family line.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for parents.
Yeah.
It is.
And I have friends who suffer with addiction issues, and they are very spiritual people. So it's very interesting, because I know a lot of times people use drugs to sort of have those spiritual experiences that they're trying to seek out, but they need to learn that they can do it without the drugs. There's a way of connecting, and it may take time. Drugs are sort of maybe more of a rocket ship to it, but I've always been afraid of them, so I've always stayed away from them.
But they also, I feel with some people that are very sensitive, it kind of numbs the pain,
like the escape. They're a temporary escape, and then they come back to a whole lot of consequences, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Which is, so I'm not advocating drugs by any means. I'm just saying that I know oftentimes people seek spiritual experiences through drugs. I've seen it too often. But I'm curious, what do you think Dwayne is doing in the other side? Do you think he's working with other addicts?
I think he is, and I think that we choose what we want. We get to the realm. I feel that he's a big influence on Kenny's life. That's the first thing we said. But also there are rehab stations, John. We talked about that the other night, where addicts, whether they're alcoholics or drug addicts, unless you walk a mile in someone's shoes, you don't quite understand what they're going through.
Right.
So
especially with mental illness, right?
Exactly.
Exacerbates it.
So the counselors don't have to be trained psychologists.
Right.
They could just be someone on earth that has gone through the same thing that, say, Kenny has.
Right.
And so then they welcome someone like that with open arms.
Right.
And I think it's fascinating what we can do. And I think Dwayne, his father in heaven, is also counseling some of the ones. We can never run away from ourselves.
Right.
So in my book, Living in the Afterlife, as we talked about before, there are life reviews that we go through. And then after that, John, then we make it to a different part where we are asked, what do you want to do? Do you want to study, or do you want to work? The work part has to do with getting back to who we are as a true soul, the inward part of us.
Right.
When we're in the physical world, dealing with all that we have to deal with day by day, it's difficult to sometimes keep the head on straight. And so, therefore, heaven, there are rehab stations.
Yes.
And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
I didn't realize that until I wrote that book, Living in the Afterlife. I didn't
just wait.
realize that counselors were there
Well,
to receive us. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing
just
to
wait.
know.
Just wait till you watch Astral City. There's a whole scene of that in there. Which I think you're going to go, oh my God. It's like,
You keep saying
oh,
that.
I can't wait till you see it. I just can't. I'm so excited about you and John watching that movie. I really am.
Yeah, and you said it was in Portuguese, John.
It's in Portuguese. So, So, folks, we're talking about Astral City. We talked about it on James's show when Kelly and Michelle co-hosted. It's a movie all about life in the afterlife. And it's a man who crosses over, and then his role in the afterlife, his job, his interactions, his day-to-day of everything that goes on in the afterlife. And it's the only movie I've ever really watched that takes place that shows sort of their role in the afterlife, like what they're doing, what they're training to do, and how they're interacting with people on Earth through viewing stations, like you had said in your book. You're going to be blown away by this movie, Michelle. I just can't wait till you watch it.
I can't wait either. When the 33 different souls came through and mentioned some of them viewing stations, they can store energy and pull their energy down here to the Earth plane.
Yeah.
But they can also go to an area that's created that they can actually view us on Earth, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
So they don't have to step through the veil and come down necessarily. And I can't wait. You've told me about that movie so many times.
Well, it's a movie. It just, honest to God, what it did is it inspired me to start my own show years ago. And we did a whole series of shows based on life in the afterlife and life in between lives and all that good stuff. So it's called Astral City. It's called A Spiritual Journey is the subtitle. You can find it on Amazon through Gaia TV and rent it online. It's an amazing movie. I think everybody, it's got incredible reviews. It's just in subtitles, so you have to bear with the translation. Yeah. But we've got a lot of calls coming in, and I want to get to the next one here from 210. 210, you're on the line with Michelle. Can we have your name, please?
Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi.
What's your question, hon?
I was wanting to see if I had a message from my mom.
Your mother. All right. Do you know if there's German anywhere in your family, Bonnie? German background?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I'm getting someone that's not your mother. I think it's a grandmother figure, and she's very kind of headstrong. She kind of pushes through. And when I say headstrong, she had a mind of her own. I like her energy. I think she was a widow, Bonnie. And this could be your mother's mother, actually, that's coming in here right now to say hello. I have a Cancer symbol coming up. So either your mother had cancer or they're bringing through someone that had cancer, Bonnie.
My mom.
She had cancer. Okay. Then that would be
Yes,
her.
both.
Pardon, sweetheart?
Her cancer was a cancer sign, and she also had cancer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then that's the double whammy here. Your grandmother, your mother's mother, who was slightly I don't know if you knew her, but she had a mind of her own. She's opening
Yes.
the door. She's opening the door for your mother to come in with the cancer. And your mother's thanking you, Bonnie, for being strong with family. She tells me you're really loyal. You don't turn your back on anybody once you care for them and once you love them. I do have to say your mother looks good. Sometimes they want to appear in a certain way. She wants to appear healthy for you. She doesn't want you to remember her as she looked before she passed away. And there's an issue of you being there. Were you there with your mother at the end, Bonnie?
Yes. Yes.
Because I think that's something that you wanted, and I think that's something that you've thought about, and I think that's something that you tried to prepare for. So your mother, now who has, your mother didn't have a lot of jewelry, but somebody has a ring or something of hers. Someone has some piece of jewelry of your mother's. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. She wants you to wear it more. And I'm also getting the symbol for April, May time frame. I usually get months. I don't know why. So someone either had a birthday April, May, or it's of some significance, Bonnie, in family for you. That's what your mother's telling me. Some
She
significance.
passed away April.
Okay.
Yeah, she passed away April 1st.
Thank you. She liked Easter. She liked flowers. She liked spring. She tells me, Bonnie, not to worry. She says life goes on. You need to keep up with physicals, Bonnie. Sometimes you put yourself in the back burner for other people, and you need to keep up with yourself. Your mother wants you to. And then somebody had difficulty in walking, either a walker or a cane, difficulty in going up steps. They're making my legs hurt. So
It's me.
Is it you now, sweetheart?
Yes.
Okay, then that's why they're making me feel my legs hurting. So you need to keep up with physicals. Take your time. And also glucose imbalance, blood sugar disorder. Would you keep up with blood sugar testing, glucose? Sugar testing.
No.
Would you keep up with it though, darling? Would you keep
Yes.
up with it? Okay. And is Daddy passed? Dad?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, did he drink?
Yes.
Because we were just talking about addictions, and
Yeah.
you may not want to hear from him. You may not want to hear from him, Bonnie, but he comes in holding a liquor bottle, and he says, Bonnie, I did try to do the best I could. He says, with what he had to work with. Your dad was really different from your mother, and he's apologizing for maybe not being there emotionally for the family. But he still loves you very much. He's actually connected with your mother. Isn't that interesting? They made peace. And,
yes, that's very interesting.
it is. And I know your mother.
Yes.
I know your mother put up with some things with your daddy, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
He says he liked the idea of counselors and rehabilitation. He says, well, Bonnie, you can't drink or eat in heaven. He goes like that. So I want you to know I'm free from the alcohol abuse. And he says, I'm very happy here. He says, I miss Mom's cooking, though. He liked to eat. Your dad liked to eat. That's funny. He really enjoyed
Yes,
it.
he did. Yes.
And when he got over there, he wanted a big sandwich.
That doesn't surprise me.
I know it. And there is a chair, a rocking chair, or some type of chair that rocks or reclines that your dad is acknowledging. So either you have it. Is your husband on earth, Bonnie? Do you have a husband?
Yes.
Okay, then
Yes.
it might be a father-in-law linking in as well as your daddy, acknowledging your husband's chair, where he likes to watch TV or sit or recline or something. If you understand. Isn't that funny? Do you have...
You hit that right on the tee.
It's funny for you.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. They tell it like it is. And then there's a back porch, or who is the screened door? Do you have a screened door in the back of your house? A screen door off the kitchen?
No.
Okay, then I'm getting memories then that would be from possibly father-in-law or your dad about walking up steps, and then there's a front room, and then there's a dining area, and the back's the kitchen. And there's a screen door back there. So this could be a living condition. Do you remember that at all?
Yes, that was his last home he was in.
The last
And
home.
was that your father or your father-in-law's?
My father.
Yeah. He still has fond memories of that. He says he could come and go as he pleased.
Well, we're running out of time, but thank you so much for calling in, Bonnie. I hope you had a
Bonnie.
good experience.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Take
honey.
care, hon. All right. So, Michelle, you have a seminar coming up soon,
Yes,
right?
I do.
And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is the chocolate world. of the country, and it's November 20th. It's a seminar. We have them. This is a traditional seminar.
Uh-huh.
We have every November. It's a Thanksgiving buffet,
Uh-huh.
and I do random readings, and we get 100 and some people
Great.
to them. And I love to do them. People ask questions. People have dreams that they don't quite understand,
Mm-hmm.
and they like to share. So we have a Q&A session,
Great.
and then I do the random readings, and we take a break and then come back. So it's a wonderful get together.
Oh,
It's a
wonderful.
very enlightening get together, and it's traditional. So
Well, let's show
that's in
them a little
Hershey,
bit about
PA.
what goes on at the seminar, okay? And we'll come back.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the Michele Livingston Show and want to see her in person, check out her next live seminar.
So here we go. If you can work with me, close your eyes. We're going to take 8 deep breaths, and we're going to start.
Have you recently lost a loved one?
Who lost a husband recently? I have to take a deep breath with him. I feel it was fairly quick.
Could you be the next one to get a reading?
I think I'm with you, sweetie. There's a name like Bree. Bree. They're showing me cheese. That's the new one. They showed me Bree cheese and her daughter's name Bree. See how this works?
This seminar will provide an experience that will truly enhance your understanding of the other dimensions.
When we get over there, we train to help 1 or 2 people that are on the earth plane, and we train to be their guides or their helpers.
And confirm that you
There's a dad figure coming through here.
are never alone.
Did you enjoy it? Oh, thank you so much.
Great. That sounds like a lot of fun. And you'll be talking about your
is.
book, Living in the Afterlife?
Yeah, I'll be talking about that as well.
Great. And we have a question from the chat room from Stephanie about Living in the Afterlife. She's been reading it, and she says, for those musicians that we may admire that are no longer with us, do they still come down when we listen to or sing their songs?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I had a few musicians that I channeled for that book. One was Whitney. I will say that
Yeah,
now.
I love it.
But yes, they do. When we think of them,
Mhm.
they come down. And actually, I'm on the #1 drive time show in central Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And there's a fantastic comedian on there named Earl. He's known throughout the country, and he's been on HBO. But when he did one of his performances, I saw Whitney Houston walking around him.
Oh, wow.
And after she passed away, she was in a red sequin gown. And I asked him if that meant anything. And he said, oh my gosh, I met her and she encouraged me to do my singing.
Wow.
And so, but he didn't know she was standing or walking around him. But yeah, we train to be spirit guides and helpers of those.
Mhm.
So whether they're artists or musicians or even scientists, whatever, spirits will come down, will influence. They can never force us to do anything with our thinking.
Mhm.
But you're a good singer, John, and there are tonal frequencies that souls can step into
Mm.
to imbibe the energy, actually, of the which I find interesting, of music.
Do you think I could have a vocal coach like Whitney here on Earth? Like she could come through and teach me how to sing? Would
You're
that-
already a great singer.
No, I think that
Heavens.
would be awesome, though, get a vocal lesson for Whitney. That would be pretty awesome.
Well, we have our own guides, and
Yeah.
if she's not from your soul group, and actually I received a lot of information from her. It's not in my book,
Uh-huh.
but she said, I'm not in your soul group, but I'll try to help you,
Oh, wow.
and that was very interesting. And I
Uh-huh.
think even on your page, you have a picture of her. At
Yeah, I
some point.
do. I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Stephanie's actually saying in the chat room, Whitney and Karen Carpenter, I believe, are her favorites.
Oh my
So-
goodness,
so,
yeah.
yeah,
I
so-
loved Karen Carpenter.
So I want to remind people, check out the chat room because we will relay
Yeah.
questions from time to time, and that's in UBN Radio Channel 2, and I will look from time to time and interject into the show. I cannot believe we're almost at the end of the show, and we still have calls waiting, so I think we could go
Uh-huh.
into overtime if you're willing to do it.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's do it then. Let's get to the next caller from 480. We have who on the line, and what are you calling about, please?
Hi, my name is Dee, and I was calling about my health.
Hi, Dee.
Hi,
Where are you calling from, dear?
Arizona,
Okay.
Phoenix, Arizona.
And when you say health, have you felt tired? What's going on with your health?
I just have a lot of health issues, and I want them fixed.
What's going on, Dee? What's going on
It's
with
just
you?
like the last time I've gone to the doctor, they've always done blood work, and it has to do with being pre-diabetic, but it's not to that point yet.
Yeah.
They do that test like every 3.
Yeah, well, good for you. The glucose testing. I feel
Yeah.
tired. I feel tired with you, sweetheart. So I'm not a medical
Yes.
intuitive. I do have to admit that. But the red and white blood cells aren't totally balanced. Your immune system's down. And I'm going to
Right.
suggest B100 complex. B100 complex will energize the immune system and the red blood cells and white blood cells and balance them. And good nutrition is
Okay.
important. You know to eat more protein, and you know to eat more green
Right.
vegetables. That will help to balance you. Some days, is it true that you don't feel like getting out of bed, Dee? Do you
Yeah.
have a hard time getting up? I really
Yeah.
feel
I
not.
have.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I
I have osteoarthritis.
I thought so. So, as I said the other night, with Kelly White on the show of James Von Prague, would you please take a good soaking bath before you go to sleep? Epsom salts will relax your joints and muscles. Baking soda in the water is alkaline, and it will help to cleanse your auric field. You know what that is? That's the energy around. You
Right.
tend to imbibe people's dramas. So therefore, you need good rest, sweetheart. You also need good warm soaking baths with the ingredients I told you about. And
Okay.
you're in a very good arid climate, though, because respiratory
Yeah.
problems are back in your family. There's some respiratory or heart things that go back in
Yes,
family.
both.
And is your daddy passed? Your daddy, Dee?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear daddy. Isn't that funny? And I don't know if he had heart or respiratory, but I feel like I want to take a breath with him. And so it's a very good climate for you to be in. Whatever inspired you to get there in Arizona, dry and arid weather is perfect for you. You need to watch allergies. See?
Yes.
Dad tells me that he holds up 3 fingers. Do you have siblings? I just have to ask you that, Dee.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. How many?
Yeah, I do.
How many are on Earth, honey?
There's a total of us 6 kids on Earth.
Are they all on Earth?
And there's 2 passed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 6 living, and then 2 passed away as infants.
Okay. Are there 3 boys or 3 girls left on Earth? Can you tell me?
Oh, there's 4 girls and 2 boys.
Okay.
Left.
So there would be 2 boys on Earth, maybe 1 boy passed. Yeah. It's Daddy's way of acknowledging the boys. It's not that he is showing partiality. I do have to say, it's not that he's doing that, but he's proud of his boys. My 3 sons. He says, my 3 sons.
Yes.
So did you have did you have a doggy pass, sweetheart? Dee, did you have a dog?
We've had quite a few pass.
Well, I'm not an animal communicator. There's a little one coming in that adores you.
A little dog?
Yeah, bringing you all kinds of gifts and just it's so funny. Wants to jump on your lap. Wants to give you kisses.
I wonder if it's Stormy, my mother-in-law's dog.
Well, it's not a big dog. Go ahead.
Well, that's the only one I can think of recently.
Yeah, it's recent. And I'm very happy to get through. And would it be your mother-in-law's canine? Your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Is she passed away? Dee, she passed away?
Yes.
All right, she's coming in with the dog. The dog actually brought her through.
Wow.
Which is very, very interesting. She loved that puppy. Mm-hmm. And she says, Dee,
yes, she did.
You didn't think you'd hear from me, but I want you to know I've made it. She says, I've made it over to heaven.
Oh, good.
And she loves you, sweetie. She thinks the world of you.
Yes, she did.
you've given everything to everybody, your time, your energy, your emotions, and please try to help yourself and bring things back to you. Would you? By doing some things that
Okay.
you love to do. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
So bless you,
Yeah, my
sweetheart.
mother-in-law passed. Well, thank you so much. You helped enormous. Thank you.
Take care, honey.
Okay, bye-bye.
Excellent. All right. So,
Yeah, usually the dogs don't bring the spirit or the souls through. Usually the soul will bring the dog through. In this case, it was the opposite. How about it, John? Isn't that interesting?
yeah, and you were talking earlier about soul groups, Michelle. Can you talk about that to define what that means? Because does that mean, when you said that, I wondered, does that mean since I never met her in real life, she wasn't in my soul group? Is it people that we meet in real life before they cross over, or is it or what is the reference to soul groups?
Soul groups are ones that we have incarnated with in past lives.
Okay.
From 5 to 10,000 different souls.
Oh, wow.
So we come back to learn and grow, and not all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the souls stay in the higher frequency of the fourth dimension, and they train to be spirit guides of us on earth.
Okay.
Some we incarnate with. So if you get along with somebody, it's a bonus, John, whether it's a family member, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Those that we have push-pulls with, they're in our soul group, and we're trying to rectify, karmically, what we need to do with them, whether it's patience or whether it's tolerance, which is a big.
Then what about the affinity that we have for, like, I have for you, you have for Kelly, I have for Kelly, that kind of thing, like, and we've never met face to face. So how does that work out?
It just works that we are probably in the same soul group, that we feel like we've known each other forever, which we probably have.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an interesting analogy in my book where one of the souls came through that was an older gentleman that passed away, one of my clients. And he made a very interesting point. He said, if you are in New York City and walking down the street, thousands of people pass by.
Right, right.
And so they're not necessarily in your soul group. But if you have a friend that you've known all your life that lives in New York City, and you visit that friend's in your soul group.
Right.
And he also mentioned intimate relationships. If you have a one-night stand, like two ships passing in the night, they're not necessarily in your soul group.
Oh.
But if you have a relationship for 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're trying to work it out, whether you get along or not, that person's in your soul group.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it is.
Because there's soulmates, and then there's life mates, and then soulmates are the people who press your buttons, right? They're the people who are the people who bring out the reason season lifetime thing, right?
Oh, yeah. And there's some that you're just like, why did I incarnate with you?
Because they can be an enemy, right? I mean, like, they're playing a role in this lifetime.
Yes.
Where they loved you so much that they play the enemy in order to help your soul grow. Is that correct?
Yes. And some of them don't know. Well, most of us don't know the dynamics of why we're together.
Right.
So I had an older sister, of course, and she was very pushy. She was 20 years older. She's passed away, bless her now, from breast cancer, but she was a handful. And so when she'd come towards me, I'd say things like, I was here before, or don't you remember me when I was here before? I was like 3 years old, and I'd scare her. She'd run out of the room. That's how I could control her, because she'd slap me around.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So, but I had a reader tell me that we went back to another lifetime, and she physically killed me, and this is my way of kind of not so much controlling our relationship, but forgiving her and tolerating her. See.
Yes.
And I pray for her all the time. And I had an interesting dream about her. Her name was Doris, and she didn't believe in an afterlife. But about 2 weeks after she passed, I was walking down a long, narrow hall. Everything was white.
Yeah.
It was like a hotel hall, and there were white doors on the right and left. And I opened one of the doors, and I looked in, and there was the silhouette of my sister, and she was in looking out a big picture window of bright light. And she just looked at me and said, I like it here.
Oh, wow.
And she was a lot younger than when she passed.
Yeah.
So I think that it was her way of saying she made it. She liked it there. It was probably before her life review, because it was only, there's no time over there.
Yeah.
It was probably before her life review, but I'm glad she liked it there.
Yeah.
And all is forgiven.
Now,
It's all about releasing.
That's kind of what you do when you do a reading for somebody with the Akashic Records, right? You look at their relationship to who they have on Earth right now and what relationship they're playing in their soul's growth. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's one of the main questions. Why did I choose my parents?
Mm-hmm.
Why did my children choose me? Can I not get along with a sibling or a husband
or coworker?
A coworker.
Yeah.
So when I astral
mm-hmm.
project, I actually leave my body and go into the universe and tap into that person's personal hall of records.
Uh-huh.
And there's gatekeepers who meet me. And the question I present to one of the gatekeepers, they acknowledge. And they guard your hall of records because only with your permission. It's very personalized. Can someone enter?
Yeah.
And then it's amazing. It's like huge files. And they, depending on the question, will pull a file out and a 3-dimensional movie pops up. It's fascinating.
Wow.
3D movie. And I'll see a snapshot in time of the person, probably get the date and sometimes their name.
Mm-hmm.
But why they were with that person that they're asking about and what the dynamics were and what they're playing out now
mm-hmm.
in this lifetime.
Very.
Which is so interesting.
That
and
is.
It sheds light.
Yeah.
Light on.
No, it would. You were saying that we get visitations in our dreams of people who have crossed over. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
So if someone has a dream about somebody who's passed over, is that a visitation always, or could it just be a dream?
Well, we leave our body.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come down to Earth.
Okay.
So a visitation would be us leaving and meeting them halfway.
Okay.
So the higher frequency is heaven, and it's faster frequency.
Uh-huh.
This is a dense, heavy learning training ground down here, John. If we can make it through a lifetime,
yeah,
we should have a gold badge when we get over there.
Yeah, no. Because a friend of mine was telling me that he had a dream and 4 of his relatives were sitting around a big white table. This was just yesterday, and was instructing him about, things that's going on in his life and even with his friends. So I would say, oh, that's a visitation. That's not a dream. He did that because that is them, giving you guidance.
Well, he was definitely with them, and it almost sounds like it's a council meeting.
Yeah, but it was with relatives, all relatives that passed.
And sometimes relatives are part of our council as well as our soul group. And they'll get together and we meet with them. But it's interesting that that person saw more than one soul. Usually when we have a visitation, like you said, we see one and not a group. That's fascinating.
Yeah, he's a very dear friend, very wise man. So it doesn't surprise me. So I just told him, I said, that wasn't a dream. That was a visitation. So.
And you've been around with him many times too, I bet.
Oh, I think so, because he's really changed my life. He really has in many awesome ways. All right, so we have 717 on the line. Let's get the name of the person. 717-309. You're on the line. Can we have your name and where you're calling from, please?
Daniel Hollahan. I'm calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
What is your first name?
Daniel.
Daniel?
Daniel.
Hi, Daniel. What's
your question?
What's your question, Dan?
This is going to sound really awkward. My stepdad passed away in June of 2015, and it was on my son's birthday. And there's been questions as to if he was really my real father. Wow. Because I look like him, I don't look like my brother's family, and nobody will tell me the truth. Everybody keeps pushing it off, and I need to know, because he died at 56. He had multiple cancers, and he had a massive heart attack.
And this is...
I need to know, if he's my dad.
Now, you say you thought he's your stepdad? Is that what you were told? Dan?
That's what I was told my entire life. Yeah, that's what I was told my entire life.
And you look like him. Is that true? Your stepdad?
Unfortunately. Spitting image.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, spitting image.
Okay. I have a gentleman through. His hair was slightly thinning. He calls you Danny. Or little Dan. I don't know if this is a father figure or... So you,
yeah, that would be my supposed dad's dad. He's
Yeah.
the only one that's ever called me that.
Yeah. He's here, huh? He's here, Dan. He calls you Danny. He says, Danny, you better slow down. He says you're always thinking ahead and you don't want to get stressed out with any form of heart condition yourself. Please don't worry about finances, Danny, he says. He tells me you're more than going to be protected, sir. More than going to be comfortable in later years. To open skeletons in the closet is difficult to do. But I can't say one way or the other if your stepdad is your biological dad. But what I want to say is follow your heart. If you look like him and you feel he is your dad, he may be. Okay.
This would be more of an in-depth reading, Daniel, but,
Yes.
but at least she can give you a little bit right here on the air.
See, that has me really worried because my stepdad wasn't a nice person. He did some really nasty stuff to my mom. And when he passed away, 2 weeks after he passed away, my mom was in the shower. Kind of funny because she calls me as she's in the shower. She was afraid to get out of the shower because she had opened the curtain to throw her wash rag on the floor. And there was a message like on the mirror that said, hi. And she's the only one in the house and my dog.
Okay.
When my dad had gotten sick, I gave them my Siberian Husky.
Oh.
And like, he loved her, but even my dog's afraid to go places in that house.
Well, it could be.
Like, I want to know, he's still here?
Yeah, no. I don't think it's him. I think actually it's funny you'd mention this about Halloween. I think the house needs cleansed, Daniel. I think you need to. I have a book, Messages from Beyond, and there are a lot of techniques on how to raise the energy of a home and how to white light it and how to bring fresh, clean air through it. It's a residual soul, I feel, that is coming forward. I don't feel it's your stepdad, sir. I really don't. And tell your
My mom's
your mom.
scared.
Yeah, tell her not to worry. Tell her not to worry. Do you have my book, Messages from Beyond, Daniel? Do you have that book, Messages from Beyond?
No.
Please.
No, I'll go and get it. Don't worry.
Well, no, you can get it on my website. You can order it from my website or Amazon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to say there are positive affirmations and how to cleanse energy of the home. And I know it's going to help you. Okay, sir? So I want to say God bless you, Daniel.
I really hope so. Thank you.
Thank you,
Daniel.
dear.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, my.
Wow, that was an intense call.
That was, you know, well, people.
And some things that, we can address on the air. Other things, it's better to have a personal private reading with you.
I assume people watching know I do phone
right.
readings. I do in-person readings here, and I do the Akashic Records, the soul records. So, some things it takes some time.
Yes,
you just
of
can't
course.
cover in a mini.
Right. These are just mini readings, a little snapshots of, what comes through and all of that. But for, in-depth, real, like you were saying, skeletons out of the closet, that's something that you want to have an in-depth reading to have some time to cover all the bases with.
Yeah.
So.
We've had some interesting calls,
Well,
so they've run the gamut tonight.
Well, it's interesting because what was the conversation all about? It was all about soul groups and roles that people play in lives. And then we had that call right after. And honestly, I just pick them as I feel them. So there you go. So we're being led to pick these ones all over the place.
And you're psychic yourself, so.
There's like 8 calls still in queue. I don't think we'll get to them, unfortunately, today. But, we can do one more, and then we can wrap up.
Okay.
All right. So give me a number, Michelle. Let's go start with 3 to 17. So give me a number between 3 and 17.
12.
Number 12. Okay. So here we go. Looks like we have 570 on the line. 570, you're on the line with Michelle. Can we have your name, please, and where you're calling from?
Blake.
Hi, Mike. Do you have a question for Michelle?
No, Blake.
Oh, Blake.
Blake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blake, where are you calling from?
St. Clair, Pennsylvania.
Okay. What's your question?
I'm trying to get through to my great grandmother. She passed away in August.
Now, is this your mother's mother?
This is my grandmother's mother. I live with her.
I know, but it would be on the mother's side or the father's side? Mother's side?
My mother's side, yes.
That's why, yeah. So it's a great grandmother on your mother's side.
Yes,
She's
yes.
made it to the light, Blake. I know you were close to her. I know. Are you working now? There's an issue with work. Are you working?
Not yet.
I thought so. Because she comes through and says there's an issue with it and not to give up.
Yeah.
You may have been on, well, laid off or something, but you need to keep going. You get yourself down, Blake. I don't know if you get yourself depressed, but your great grandmom's saying, tell my Blakey, she calls you Blakey, to keep going. And there's going to be a job for you coming up, and try not to step away from it. You will be a success. And you understand what
Okay.
she's saying. You've tried so hard to be a success, haven't you, Blake? It
Yeah,
seems.
yeah.
And please don't give up, Blake, because you have a lot of potential. Your great grandmother
Yeah.
says you have very good hand-mind coordination. You could even have your own business if you were pushed, if you could push yourself in the right direction. You could even have your own
Yeah.
business. It takes a lot of courage, but she's trying to give you courage, okay? And she
Okay.
loves you dearly. And your grandmother's still
Okay.
on. Your grandmother's still on earth, right? Your mother's mother?
Yes.
Okay. She has time left. I do have to say, there's longevity for her, which is great. Um, and you do like to get out, don't you, and drive. I just feel like you like to get in the vehicle and go. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yeah.
You do. So
Yes, I do.
what question would you have very quickly for your great grandmother over and above work, which we covered, your personality? Is there anything else very quickly you'd like to ask her?
Does she forgive me for not hanging up her curtains before she passed?
There's no animosity in heaven, honey. She was a good lady. All is forgiven,
Okay.
and try not to do the shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Okay.
Do you know what's being said? You need to release all that. Everything's fine. All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
watch for the job. Don't be down on yourself.
Okay.
You're gonna have a good job. Thanks for calling in, Blake.
You're welcome.
I love to hear from men.
Yeah.
And this is interesting.
Thank
You,
you.
honey.
Yeah.
We had a few tonight. That's interesting.
I know. Yeah, that was like you say, the calls were all over. Various different subjects, from health to wanting to connect with others on the other side, to questions about life and career and money and all that good stuff. So,
And
yeah.
you were great as usual, John. You always are.
Well, I just feel so comfortable with you. I love that you're open to my questions, and that we just sort of flow with spirit with this show, and what I'm trying to do is break it up more so that we're talking and giving a lot of more information in between calls, so that people aren't just having a string of calls and nothing but calls. You know what I mean? So they're just playing with that a little bit.
Yeah, that's good, because it's almost a teaching
Yeah.
role, and people so many times need to hear something, but they don't call in.
Right.
But if you're talking about positive affirmations or whatever, it helps them.
And it's interesting because, it's when we're sharing what we're sharing, then a call comes in that sort of connects with that information. So
isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
It works that way.
It works really great.
Go with the flow.
So we apologize to the ones who didn't get through today, but we'll be back next week. And again, Michele is here every Wednesday at 4 p.m., Channel 2, UBN Radio. If you would like
7 in the east.
7 in the east, exactly. And yeah, not that I forget, but I leave that part to you. We are also on iHeartRadio, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spreaker, all over the place. So any place that you can find a podcast, you can hear the replay of this show, also at ubnradio.com. So if you had a message that you want to share with a loved one, please do. And also pass on the video. Share the video with your friends.
That's right. And happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Stay safe.
Yes, and get Michele's book, There's several of them, Messages from Beyond. Then we have Miraculous Encounters and the book that we were talking about today, which was Living in the Afterlife. They're all on her site at michellelivingston.com. And you can sign up for her newsletter there as well. So thank you all for joining us. We went into overtime today to try to get to as many calls as we could, and we will be back next week. So take care and be good to yourself.
Love you, John.
Love you too, honey. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.